Hey everyone, this is Wester70 with Strategic Gaming Review for November 2014. We have an exciting list this month, so let's get into it. This month we're looking at 4 games, and the first in the list is Sunless Sea, late beta from Fail Better Games and available on Steam. The focus on the game is exploration and survival in a quite odd setting, featuring London buried underground in a cavern that has its own oceans and islands. Your means of transport is a steamship in which you carry out tasks, engage pirates and sea creatures, and travel to distant ports for trade and adventure. The game has its own built-in history and is quite unapologetic about asking you to accept it without much question and even fewer answers. The interface is fairly easy to navigate, and there is unusual storylines in each port that allows you to make choices that will affect circumstances and how the inhabitants respond to you. The island with rats and guinea pigs is not to be missed. The AI is pretty unforgiving, which quickly teaches you to be careful. Oddly, I enjoyed that part of the game. The game plays into 2 different modes, the actual navigation and battles, with keeping an eye on fuel and food, and the lack of either potentially ending the game for you. The second mode is the interface and exploration of cities, islands, and ports, which provides some interesting scenarios and an alternative history that fairly begs to be confined to a padded cell. While redefining the word quirky, I wonder whether the game has enough going for it to sustain interest in the long run. Once you find out how to maintain your supplies and fuel and how to escape your enemies, it's mostly routine. I give the game high marks for creativity, a worthwhile game to pursue. The second game I want to cover is Prison Architects from Introversion and also available on Steam. This game rocks. It's an alpha and not everything works, but I don't care. When I first heard and saw the game, I didn't even consider it. The graphics are way simple, and the premise just didn't look all that great. However, I tried it, and 4 hours later, I was on my 3rd prison and on my way to 500 prisoners and my 2nd expansion. It was awesome. It's all about balance, resource management, and a firm hand. I had killings, riots, and all sorts of mayhem, and slowly but surely brought it under control. When I encountered glitches, I worked around them. Plenty of other players are out there to help you. While running the prison is a lot of fun, so is designing them. You have full control of the configuration, numbers, and types of materials to be used. The game provides a ghost design that allows you to set the whole thing up without actually building anything, and you can set up the prison any way you want. Lots and lots of playability here. There is also modding available, and that can only add to the longevity of the game and its playability. Excellent game, and I highly recommend it. The third game is Graviteam Tactics and downloadable content that is available on Steam. This is a strategic and tactical game played out in Russia during World War II and other locations at later time periods, often with underdogs. The game has a learning curve and you must be patient to play it. You can play in the campaign mode, which will take you hours and hours of playtime, or you can do individual battles that you define and play for trying out different tactics and units. There is a realism edge to this game that is quite engaging, and while it isn't quite immersive, it certainly keeps you on the edge of your seat. There are 2 basic aspects to this game. One, a strategic positioning of your troops on a large-scale map with reinforcements waiting on the edge, and the other part is the actual battles where you either defend or attack depending on the scenario, or as you wish it. As the operational commander, you set up the attack or defense and then start the battle. Your troops follow your orders depending on local conditions, level of communication, and the morale of your soldiers. Worst case, your soldiers run off and never come back without firing a shot. One of the best things is that the battlefield is persistent throughout the campaign. Your soldier will remember that last battle, and there will be tanks littering the field. And the soldiers may not be so gung-ho the next time they come into the play mode. The game has a certain unpredictable aspect to it that I find quite refreshing, and when you start a battle, don't be surprised if the enemy doesn't show up for it. Very interesting how that works. Another aspect I really like is that some of the downloadable content is on obscure battles and skirmishes you often don't get to see or play. For example, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, or the confrontation between Chinese Communist forces and Soviets in the 1970s. The downside is learning to navigate the commands and interfaces, but the reward is an amazing amount of playability and downright fun. Excellent game, and I highly recommend it. The last game is Frozen Synapse Prime, which is just an awesome game. It is a turn-based game where you plot out your moves in advance against an enemy team, and they're executed simultaneously with you getting the results at the end. Lots of fun involving small team tactics. There is a function that allows you to see where the enemy might go, and you can plot your movements to counter those potential scenarios. Unfortunately for you, the enemy can move in a lot of different directions, and woe to you if you don't anticipate them in advance. It's really a chess match in some ways, and in many different ways, and there are many different ways to play it. I have not played the multiplayer yet, but from the videos I've seen, they are well worth it. There's a campaign game, but haven't played it since I was enjoying the individual battles so much. There are a lot of different configurations to set up in the game, and definitely will keep you occupied for a long time. Graphics are simple but good, the rules are easy to pick up, and the playability is excellent. Highly recommended. All of this month's games are worth trying, and it will be well worth your time and effort to do so. I hope you enjoyed this month's episode of Strategic Gaming Review. If you did, please like and subscribe. Goodbye for now, and we'll see you on the battlefield.